For some of you, this Honda X-ADV is an incredibly poor choice. For others, it's the best bike you could possibly buy. Which group do you belong to? The answer's in this video. Right then, hello and welcome to 1000 PS TV. Welcome from my beautiful hometown of Forchtenstein, and welcome to a revealing test that might exclude some of you as potential buyers, but might just win over a whole new audience for this fascinating and bold bike. I'm not sure if it was a Freudian slip, but to me, it feels more like a motorcycle than a scooter. You can sound off about that in the comments below. We've known the Honda X-ADV for 8 years now, and when it first came out, it really made waves. A bike that aims to combine the advantages of a scooter with those of a motorcycle. Critics said it combines the weaknesses of both concepts. But let's break it down simply. What's actually been improved compared to the previous model, the very first X-ADV? This here is the new 2025 model. And Honda made changes exactly where it was needed. One major issue was the DCT dual-clutch transmission, which now works brilliantly even at really low speeds in city traffic. The mechanical aspect always worked just fine. It's not that gear changes were clunky, it's just that the software and sensors weren't very good at predicting what you were about to do with the bike. So I did a particularly intensive test for you with the X-ADV. I took it to the supermoto track in Bad Fischau, our 1000 PS lap time testing track, and really pushed it hard through some intense laps. That setting simulates a mix between city traffic and twisty mountain roads like the Stelvio Pass. And the bike really impressed me. Even at low speeds and in tight corners, the software always picked the right gear. And more importantly, gear changes between first, second, and third at very low speeds were incredibly smooth. The clutching and shifting were seamless. The amazing thing is, after a short while, you stop thinking about the fact that it's an automatic gearbox. You don't even bother using the manual shift buttons anymore. You really do get used to it. Another change compared to the old model, it now comes with cruise control. And the seat, Honda really invested there. It's a proper high-quality seat now because you've got to make up for one of the design drawbacks of this concept. When you're riding, you sit on it like a scooter. But it's a brilliant bike and lots of you take it on long tours. The thing is, when you're riding for hours, all your weight rests on your backside due to the seating position. Over time, that pressure gets uncomfortable. That's just part of the concept. You don't notice it as much with a regular scooter because you don't usually do 8-hour rides on them. But here, it's noticeable, and that's where the improved seat helps. The seat offers better support at the back and is more comfortable than before. That said, the downside remains. You don't really distribute your body weight through your feet, it all goes through your bum. You could ride in this position here, standing up a bit, but honestly, I tried the bike for several weeks and never used it that way. It's meant for off-road riding while standing, but the kind of terrain I tackled, I was able to ride through comfortably while seated. I know we used to criticize the older X-ADVs in videos, saying you needed foot pegs for off-roading. Now that we have them, I have to say, they're kind of unnecessary, because in practice, most of us just ride it sitting down anyway, and that works just fine. The second conceptual drawback, which still exists, is this. The step-through area is quite high, so when you get on and off, you need to be fairly agile, just like with a motorbike. So who is this not the right bike for? Who should I talk out of buying the Honda X-ADV? If you're someone who's looking for a snappy, cool scooter as an addition to 1, 2, or 3 other motorbikes, this bike is far too expensive. It actually costs more than some motorcycles in Honda's lineup. So the X-ADV is not a second bike. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The Honda X-ADV is for those of you who one day realize that all the other bikes sitting in the garage are just collecting dust. You sell them all and replace them with this one machine. It's for those of you who've all but stopped riding, who always say you're not doing enough miles. This bike is your chance to actually ride more again. And why is that? Because the Honda X-ADV is a bike that works for nearly every real-world scenario. And not only does it work, it's genuinely fun. I do weird stuff with it, like riding on the supermoto track, so even sporty riding is a blast. I take it shopping because it has scooter-like features, splash protection, comfort, ease of access, hop on and go, automatic gearbox, simple. So for everyday errands and practical jobs, it feels smooth and satisfying. And if you still want to go on a big motorbike tour once a year with your mates, you don't need another touring bike. This one does the job. You've got a full-fledged touring bike here with an adjustable windscreen for solid wind protection, great ride comfort, good splash protection, good seating comfort, and if you add a top box like we did, you can carry plenty of luggage too. Everything on this bike feels really high-end. And if I compare it directly with the Honda NC750X, this one feels much more premium in terms of quality, components, and finish. You'll find more in common here with the top-tier Honda models. Those 500 or 750 motorbikes from Honda don't quite match the level of the X-ADV. When I look at the handlebars, the parts, the build quality, the panel gaps, the bolts, this is top-class stuff. Put it next to an Africa Twin, and it feels like an equal in terms of build quality. What's also impressive is how the bike handles. It's incredibly smooth, yet dynamic. When riding hard, you can brake into corners, accelerate out, and it just feels fantastic. It really puts a smile on your face. It doesn't feel wobbly like a scooter, but maybe just a bit more playful than a regular bike. Throwing it into corners is genuinely good fun, and it gives you a bit of that emotional buzz, even though the bike is otherwise very practical. All the features, under-seat storage, great wind protection, automatic transmission, are all super useful. But when the corners start coming, it just makes you grin. That's what it does so well. So for me, it's the tip for people who want to get back into two-wheeled riding, but aren't doing enough with their current bikes. Maybe it's too hot, too cold, too much hassle with all the gear, too inconvenient. This bike gives you the best odds of riding more often if it's sitting in your garage. That's just how it is. I've recommended it to friends and gotten great feedback. They said I was spot on. This bike gets used heavily in our team. It's a proper workhorse. Sorry to put it like that, but there's no other word for it. It was absolutely filthy when I picked it up. Must have been from another off-road shoot. You're out riding with touring and enduro bikes through rough terrain, and the guys up front are doing their thing while the cameraman follows behind with this scooter, in quotes, the X-ADV, through the same gnarly stretches. And it manages it. It really does. And weirdly, apart from this strange scratch here, no idea where that came from, I haven't found any other damage. Because this thing is truly built for it. You feel it when you ride. You're on a gravel road, hitting bump after bump, and nothing rattles, nothing shakes. It soaks up the hits brilliantly, and you think, yeah, this bike can take 1,000 more knocks and won't care. That kind of confidence and indestructibility, you usually only get that from really tough enduros like the Africa Twin. What makes the X-ADV so special is that despite being such a practical and compact everyday bike, it gives you that rugged, unshakable vibe. The only big drawback is the price. It's not cheap. There's a link below to our marketplace. Check that out for the current prices, because talking prices here can be tricky. First, prices are often outdated. Second, we're now watched in about 20 countries, so prices vary. Anyway, the X-ADV is expensive when you compare it to other bikes with the same engine performance. It's expensive compared to scooters that offer similar storage and practical use. That's one issue. The other is that people coming from the scooter world are often caught off guard by how big and bulky it feels, especially the high step-through and width. That can make maneuvering tricky. So for those who aren't too steady on their feet or just want something super easy to handle, you're better off with something like a 350 ADV or maybe a CB500X. Something that feels lighter and more approachable than this. It's really down to the broad step-through area and the weight. What does work brilliantly, though, is all the built-in experience, especially the electronics package. It's super usable. Rain, sport, street modes, all working harmoniously with the auto gearbox, ABS, traction control. It all comes together seamlessly. And that's the beauty of the current generation. It's the result of years of feedback and development. That maturity is obvious. This level of perfection in the DCT gearbox, that's a key feature for many of you, especially if you weren't totally happy with the previous version of the X-ADV. And having cruise control now, well, that's a real bonus too. All right, let's take one more walk around and have a closer look at some of the details on this bike. Okay, folks, let's do a quick walk around of the X-ADV. I'll show you the key features. First thing worth noting, we're talking about a proper motorcycle chassis here. You can see it from the well-sized swing arm. That chassis design continues into the engine and frame combo. This type of motorcycle style frame is what makes the bike, well, this hybrid of scooter and motorcycle, quite wide. In this area in particular, it's broad and the step-through is much higher than on a normal scooter. Right, back to the point. Another distinctive feature, it has a chain drive. The chain is well protected, but still exposed enough that it needs more maintenance than a belt drive or a fully enclosed unit like many scooters use. But chain drive has its advantages too, better efficiency and lower weight. So, not a bad solution, just a bit more upkeep. Another standout feature is the handlebar. It's wide, solid, and tapered, wouldn't look out of place on a touring enduro, and everything feels super robust. The bolts, the finish, even small touches like the handbrake, all feel solid and high quality. You've got two buttons, one for the fuel cap. The underseat storage fits a full-face helmet, even an open-face one, but with a big touring or flip-up helmet, I've had trouble fitting it in. Depends on the helmet model. One more thing worth showing, the control system. The key's in my pocket, no worries, it can't be started just like that. Most of the bike's functions are controlled from the left handlebar. The gearbox controls are over here. This lets you switch between drive and manual modes. Push over to go into neutral. This brings the bike to life. This one turns cruise control on and off. The rest of the bike's features are managed via the mode button, which lets you switch between riding modes. Rain, gravel, custom user modes, standard and sport. The four-way controller lets you select settings, pressing up, down, left, right. The icons show whether to press briefly or hold. Short press, long press, you get the idea. Like here, short press opens a menu, press down, go over here, turn on heated grips, for example. It all works with this controller. Long press takes you to the menu where you can reset trip meters. 2 arrows mean long press, 1 arrow means short. Pretty straightforward. Another short press lets you toggle through information displays. Now I'll click over here, go into settings. You can customize the display too. Pick your preferred info. I'll just leave it as it is. Time, date, the usual stuff. That's the display. You could shift gears manually if you wanted. Index finger here, thumb there. But to be honest, I never used it. The DCT works that well now, both mechanically and in terms of software. That's off now. I've got the windscreen set to the highest position. You can adjust it easily with one hand, several height settings. I'm lowering it now, had it up for cleaning. That's the windscreen sorted. We've got pretty practical wind, mud, and gravel guards here. I already mentioned the seat. That's mostly it for the walk around. Gives you a good sense of the bike's details. One last thing to show. These footrest positions, position 1, position 2, and the standing off-road position, which is position 3. This isn't position 4, it's the passenger peg. And over here is a little storage compartment. Think that's obvious. I believe I've shown you pretty much everything. That's it. The X-ADV. Two final things, sorry. Accessories that aren't standard. SW-Motech axle protectors front and rear, and the lovely DUSC top case. Really great bit of kit. Super easy to use with one hand. High quality, you just shut it and it's properly closed. No fiddling to get it aligned, just shuts perfectly. Top-notch quality, absolute top quality. That's it. This is it. The Honda X-ADV 750 2025. Now back to the studio. All right, now I've got a bit of a striptease for you. You may have noticed I'm wearing some odd gear. Let's switch to camera 2. Check this out. What is this stuff? It's called Botex Elite. And why am I wearing this on the X-ADV? This vest costs €400. And the trousers, don't worry, I've got more on underneath. No need to cover the kids' eyes. I'm wearing protective underwear underneath. That's right, folks. Underwear model Nils in action. This is premium protective motorcycle underwear from Botex. I love wearing it on bikes like this because I can just throw normal clothes on top. Underneath, I've got extremely abrasion-resistant Dyneema fibers, plus protectors exactly where you need them, because they fit snugly. And what's amazing, check this out, is the material itself. It feels cool even when standing around. And it's not mesh. It looks odd, it's not mesh. But the Dyneema fiber wicks heat away from your body like magic. That means this fabric offers world-class abrasion resistance, top certification levels, combined with superb comfort and climate regulation. Really comfortable to wear. And all that lets you wear casual clothes on top. A shirt, a tee, done. You're well protected. Downside? The price. $300 for the pants, $400 for the top. But they are proper motorbike gear. Final homework, folks. To all X-ADV 2025 riders who've tried both the previous and the current model, post your experiences below. Was I right? Or do you disagree? Or do you back up everything I said? Share your experiences below and help enrich this video on 1000 PS TV. Thanks, cheers, and see you next time on 1000 PS TV.